Hello and welcome to this section of class number 2 in our Crystal Healing Certification Program, the Metaphysics of Crystal Healing. In this section of the class, we'll be talking about the healing properties of color. So going back to what we talked about in class number 1, understanding the science of crystals, the color of a mineral that we perceive with our eye is determined by the wavelength of light that's being reflected off of that crystal's surface. So remember, when light was striking the surface of that crystal, some of the light wave frequencies, which are colors, are absorbed by the stone, and those that are reflected are the ones that we see. So that's how we actually perceive the color of crystals. But our interaction with color goes deeper than just our visual observation of it. And in fact, color has been scientifically proven to affect our mind, our mood, and our personal well-being. So by having an understanding of the effects that color has on the body, the mind, the spirit, and the emotions, you'll be better able to select stones for specific healing practices. So let's look at a little bit of this science of color, and let's talk about our attraction to certain colors. The colors that we're drawn to or the colors that we avoid can give us a lot of insight into our personal strengths and weaknesses or the parts of ourself that may need healing. And the same goes for our work with our clients. By observing the colors that either attract or repel them, it gives us a little bit more information about what might be going on with them energetically. Often when we're drawn to certain colors, it's because they reflect the energies of our own personality. So we're attracted to things that resonate with us. We feel really comfortable with these colors because we resonate with them. And we also might feel drawn to certain colors because they provide an energy that we're missing. They complete us, and that's something that we're really ready to heal in our lives. And we're actively seeking that out, both consciously and subconsciously. On the other hand, the colors that we have a really strong aversion to, those might indicate qualities or traits that we already have in excess. In this case, we're often drawn to complementary colors to help bring balance to these areas. So let's start by taking a look at the color red. This is the color of action, ambition, achievement, strength, intensity, passion. Red is full of vibrant energy. It's also the color that relates to the root chakra, and we'll be talking about this more in our class on chakra healing with crystals and stones. Now, some really common red crystals include things like ruby, red jasper, red tiger's eye, and red garnet. Now, it's interesting to note here that there are actually many different types and varieties of garnet. There's almandine garnet, pyrope garnet, grossular garnet. All of these can actually be red, but garnet comes in many colors. So when we're talking about some crystals, we use the color adjective to describe them if they can come in more than one color. For example, garnet can come in green, yellow, red, black, brown, so many colors. So we use red garnet to describe it. Now, many times in the crystal healing world, we don't actually know the species or variety of garnet that we're working with. It might be a pyrope garnet, but it might be an almandine garnet. And unless you know the location or locality where that stone is from, or you have some information from the seller of the crystal, you may not be able to identify specifically the type of garnet. But the good news is most red garnets have very similar qualities, and there's a little difference between the varieties. So if you have a red garnet, it's going to exhibit the same qualities no matter which variety it is. Now that leads us to something really important that I want to point out here. The color red often displays the traits that you see here. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that every single red stone will display all of these traits. These are commonalities and broad descriptions of what's typical for red stones. Now let's take a look at the color orange. This is the color of self-expression and success, sexual energy, warmth, generosity, hospitality. Orange is such a powerful soul healer, and it's the color related to the sacral chakra. Now, some common orange crystals are amber, although amber can also be more of a golden yellow, orange calcite, sunstone, carnelian, and apricot Botswana agate. Next are our yellow crystals. Yellow, the vibrant color of happiness, idealism, imagination, personal power, inner strength, willpower, courage, and bravery. There are so many important attributes associated with the color yellow. Some common yellow crystals include golden quartz, heliodor, which is actually just the yellow variety of beryl, so it's the yellow cousin to aquamarine, citrine, yellow jasper, honey calcite, and golden tiger's eye. Now, you might be looking at something like the honey calcite or the golden tiger's eye and thinking those are really more gold in color. This is really up to you and your interpretation of which color range these crystals fall into. You might even consider something like golden tiger's eye or yellow jasper to look a little bit more on the brown side. And that's because color is a spectrum. It doesn't have definitive beginnings and endings. One color flows into the next, flows into the next. So it's really up to you and your personal judgment of which color a stone truly is. How many times have you looked at something, maybe a picture online, a wall color, some fabric, and thought that it looked purple while someone you know thought it looked blue? This is really common because we all perceive colors slightly differently. Now let's take a look at our green crystals. Green, the color of love, healing, renewal, security, nurturing, balance, calming. Green is the color associated with the heart chakra, and in fact it's one of two colors commonly associated with the heart, and we'll talk about the other color in just a little bit. Now, some common green crystals include nephrite jade, and this would be green nephrite jade because nephrite jade can come in other colors. Green fluorite, wavellite, moss agate, green calcite, and green aventurine. Next up, we have our blue crystals, and these can really range from light sky blue to a medium blue. Blue is the color of communication, spirituality, tranquility, organization, patience, hope, faith, and forgiveness. Some common blue crystals include blue kyanite, and kyanite, of course, also comes in many, many colors, including some you might not know about. Kyanite actually comes in blue, black, green, and orange. There's also aquamarine, which is the blue variety of beryl, blue lace agate, hemimorphite, and blue quartz. Now we have the color indigo, and this is a really deep blue color. This relates to things like the Akashic records, ascension, channeling, spirit guides and spirituality, meditation, and psychic skills. Some common indigo crystals include tanzanite, sodalite, blue apatite, lapis lazuli, and shadakite. The color indigo relates to the third eye or brow chakra, where the lighter blue relates more to the throat chakra. So again, these colors are on a spectrum and they tend to blur together. So where that cutoff is between a medium to a dark blue to an indigo is really up to you. Now our final chakra color is violet or purple. This is the color of the crown chakra, and this has to do with alignment, awakening, expansion, consciousness, knowledge, leadership, inspiration, and transformation. Some common purple crystals are amethyst, ametrine, lepidolite, spirit quartz, and charoite. But there are, of course, more colors than just the 7 major colors of the chakra system. For example, there's white, which we know from class number 1 occurs when a material, in this case a crystal, reflects all of the colors, the full spectrum of light. So what we see when all of the colors are reflected is white or clear. So here we have common properties like togetherness, unity, purification, cleansing, community. And common crystals that are white or clear are Herkimer diamond, which isn't actually a diamond at all, it's a variety of quartz, clear quartz, and howlite. Then, of course, the inverse to white is black. So black is the color that we see when all of the light waves are absorbed by a crystal. So the crystal holds on to all of those energies. This is one of the reasons that black crystals are thought to be so protective. And the color black, in fact, is also associated with protection, as well as power, pride, strength, discovery, learning, mysticism, and shielding. Some common black crystals include things like black obsidian and black tourmaline. Now, the addition of black to any other color is known as a shade. This happens, for example, when you add black to a color like red and you get the color burgundy. You have predominantly the properties of the color red, but you have a few qualities of the color black as well. This also occurs with the color white, but rather than being known as a shade, when white is added to a color, it's known as a tint. And this is how we get all of our beautiful pastel colors. Now, even though pink is the combination of red and white, it does combine the qualities of those two colors, but it has its own unique traits and associations as well. Pink, if you didn't already know, is the other color that's associated with the heart chakra along with green. And some common properties of pink include self-love, tenderness, kindness, generosity, partnership, family, comfort, romance, and self-esteem. Some common pink crystals are rose quartz, rhodochrosite, rhodonite, pink tourmaline, which is sometimes called rubellite, but there's also pink albate tourmaline, and tugtopite, which is not super common, but still a really interesting crystal you should get familiar with. Now there's also the color teal. This does combine some of the qualities of blue and some of the qualities of green, but teal is associated with one of the minor chakras called the higher heart chakra or the zeal point chakra. It's located about halfway between the heart and the throat, and it's known as the seat of the soul or the peace chakra. The color teal is connected with peace, calmness, tranquility, solitude, compassion, flexibility, and growth. And some common teal crystals include turquoise, amazonite, chrysocolla, and dioptase. Brown is another very important color to look at its healing properties. Brown is usually created when 3 or more colors are combined together. And brown relates to things like earthing, grounding, shielding, finances, stability, your ancestors, order, organization, and concentration. Some common brown crystals include cross stone, which is also known as chiasolite. It's a variety of andalusite, smoky quartz, petrified wood, and bronzite. Now bronzite, again, you might be thinking looks a little bit more coppery colored. It does have some copper flecks, but I don't think it quite has the warmth that most copper has, so I would consider it to be more of a brown crystal. And that leads us to our metallics, gold, silver, and copper. Now, of course, there are other metallics out there. You might be thinking of bronze or iron, but these are the 3 main color groups to think about when we're thinking about the healing qualities of color. Gold is naturally associated with abundance and finances, with good fortune and luck, and pyrite is a great example of a gold colored crystal. Silver is more feminine, whereas gold is a little bit more masculine. And silver includes qualities like intuition, rebirth, psychic skills, and balance. A great example of a silver-colored crystal is hematite. And finally, that brings us to copper, our last metallic color, which is associated with self-love, fertility, friendship, and relationships. And of course, the mineral copper or metal copper is a great example of copper color. Now there's one more quick thing I want to touch on in this section, and that's color light therapy. You may have seen some really cool pictures online of a crystal light bed, or maybe you've even experienced this yourself. Well, these are special healing tables that have 7 quartz crystals, one above each chakra center. And they're cut into a Vogel wand shape. We discussed Vogel wands a little bit more in our crystal shapes section of this lesson. Now, each of these quartz crystals is pointed down at the chakra center, but above the quartz crystal, there's a bright light shining down through the quartz. And between the light and the quartz crystal is a color lens. Now, these are very specific color frequencies used by color therapists who practice chromotherapy. And this color is enhanced by the light that's shining through it and then amplified through the quartz crystal into the chakra center. This makes for an amazing experience and is used for intense chakra healing. Now, I also have a quick bonus handout for you in this section, so let's take a look at that together now. This is the Healing Properties of Color bonus handout. Now you can see we've put together a really quick and easy reference chart for you with all of the different colors that we just discussed and some of their main qualities, along with some examples of some of the stones that are commonly found in each color. This is a great thing to print out and keep in your sacred space or your healing arts room for a really quick reference if you're wondering what might be going on with someone's energy. Are they attracted to those colors? Is it something that they already resonate with, or is it something that they're looking for to complete their energy? On the other hand, is it something that they're really repelled by, or do they have an aversion to a particular color? That might tell you that there's an imbalance in one of these associated areas. So keep this reference chart handy, and I hope you find it really helpful. Until next time, crystal blessings.